Yes, I'd like to call, this is Gina Good, Case County Office, and I would like to call the meeting to order, please.
All righty, thank you. Kim, can you confirm we have a quorum?
As of right now, I have Gina Goo, Darren Cundiff, Jennifer Overstreet, Dr. Brown, Kay King, Dr. Price, and Jennifer Sugar. So I only have
I counted 7 as you were
only
counting.
have 7.
7 is a quorum.
Randy's texting me now.
7 is a quorum, so the meeting is official. Kim told me this morning when I sent the link to this meeting, I have another office manager named Kim Tucker, and she's Macquarie County, and I sent the Macquarie link to her by accident. So that's why you guys got the wrong link initially. I apologize, but I'm glad.
Hey, Kim.
Yes.
Hey, Kim, is there 2 board members on one screen?
Just me and Jennifer Sugars are together.
Oh, okay. You got somebody right beside you. I'm sorry. I came in late. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
Sorry.
You're good.
All right.
Randy's having trouble connecting. He said he'll get on as soon as he can.
All right.
Dr. Price has disappeared. No, there he is, John Price. Never mind. I see him.
All right. All right. So we'll go ahead and go through with the meeting. We've been called to order. We have a quorum. There's 3 sets of minutes that was sent to you all in the packet. So if you've had a chance to review those already, there was our regular meeting that we had last February, and then we had a special meeting on 4/20 and a special meeting on 9/22 when we discussed parts of the building project. So I don't know if anyone would want to make a motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes that was forwarded to you guys. If so,
I'll make a motion, Sean.
okay, who was that?
Kay King.
Kay King made the motion. Kim?
Sean, Tracy Aaron has just texted me and said that the phone number on her link is named Dr. Price.
Oh,
I just changed it back, Sean. I'm not sure what happened to him.
oh, okay, that's okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did anyone make a second?
Second. Jennifer Sugars. Jennifer Sugars will second it.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Hey, Sean.
Okay.
If that's not Dr. Price, Dr. Price isn't on. Unless I'm miscounting, I'm currently counting 6.
Yeah, I am.
All right.
Let me call him real quick.
All right. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if we can get Dr. Price into the right meeting and so we can have a quorum.
Was he on earlier, Sean?
He was in the wrong meeting room.
Okay. I wonder why that first link went bad.
Oh, I sent her the wrong link. I sent her the Macquarie link. I got Kim Tucker and Kim Kane turned around.
Oh, okay.
Gina, we're waiting for a quorum now. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I count 7. Do we not count Jelaine as our, Carlo is one of ours?
No, she's our health educator. She's an employee.
She counts as an employee. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'm the secretary of the board, but I'm a non-voting member, so I can't count toward the quorum.
Okay. Well, I don't have any electricity this morning, and I'm at my dad's house. That's why you're not going to see my photo for very long.
I understand.
I have a lot more ice at my house than he does here, and we're not very far apart.
Judge Dahl is joining us, so that'll make a quorum when he gets into the room. All right, so Judge Dahl has just joined us. That does make us a quorum now. So Gina, would you call the meeting to order again, please?
Yes, I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time.
Thank you. Gina asked me, since we're on Zoom, it's a little hard trading back and forth between the chair, to go ahead and try to run us through the agenda. Each of you guys were sent the packet in advance. In your packet, there was 3 sets of minutes. There was the minutes from our February meeting, the minutes from our special called meeting on April 20th when we approved the building project and reset the budget. And then there was a meeting on 9/22 when we added a couple extra items to the budget for the building project. So you all should have those and should have been able to review those. Can we go ahead and again get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion, Sean. This is Kay King.
Thank you, Kay King.
Jennifer Sugar, second.
Jennifer Sugars is there with Kim. She makes the second. Thank you, Dr. Sugars. If it's all right with the chair, then I'll ask for the a vote. If you're in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye or raise your hand so we can see.
Aye.
All right. And if anybody is opposed, please unmute and say so or type it into the chat. All right. I hear no opposition and I see nothing in the chat box saying no. So with that, the minutes will be approved. I'm going to kind of jump around in the agenda just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and cover the audit. I'm going to cover some of the previous issues before we get into the new issues. I'm going to share my screen. So if you're able to see the screen, you should be able to see this. And I'm going to jump on down to the audit report.
Kelly, you can come over here and join us. Okay.
Since you all had a large building project this year, we had to get an audit, and you can see again it's in your packet, but what I'm displaying on the screen is the introductory letter at the beginning of the audit. You see the top verse there. There's an adverse opinion, and the only thing that means is it discusses our accounting process. By state law, we use cash accounting, and the most commonly accepted accounting practice is to use accrual accounting. It's just 2 different accounting models. We use the model that's required by the state, but the auditors always point out that that's not the most commonly accepted accounting practice. But in the next paragraph, it says, in their unmodified opinion, it says the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects our assets, liabilities, and fund balances. So in other words, it was a clean audit. So the audit is something we have to, the audit report is something we have to accept by vote. So if someone could make a motion to accept the audit report.
Jennifer Sugars makes a motion to go forward with the clean audit.
Thank you, Dr. Sugars. Would someone make a second?
I'll second it.
Was that Gina?
Kay. No,
Kay.
Kay.
Thank you, Kay. All right. And is there any discussion about the audit report? Okay. All of those in favor, please raise your hand or unmute and say aye or type it in the chat.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. And if there's If there's any opposition, please say nay or type it into the chat. All right, hear no nays and I see nothing in the chat, so the audit report passes. I'm going to go ahead again. I like to cover the old stuff before I get into the new stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the summary of the building report. It's in your package on page 32. And I'm going to jump to that real quick. Ron, do you see that on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ron can correct me if I get this out of line. I had to miss a couple of your all's board meetings last year because I was tied up with COVID, and I appreciate Ron and Kim for taking care of those meetings for me. The original building project, when we had our meeting back in February, we projected that the building project would cost $300,000, and you all approved that. We came back on April 20th. Once the project came in, if you can see where my mouse is, at $305,804. So we had a board meeting on 4/20, and we set the total project at $350,000. That gave us some cushion for any change orders or things that might come up. You can see the contract was awarded to Owens, and there was some change orders, and then there was some deductions, but the total project, the part that was paid out to Owens, was $324,650 through that initial contract. So it came in under the $350,000 that you approved. We came back on 9/22, and we added some items, some things that we found as we were working through the project. We added some work on the roof. We added the transfer of the security system, and we added 2 new air conditioner units. You all increased the total amount that we could spend from $350,000 to $411,905. And you can see that when we add all those items together, including this sign I'll talk about in a minute, the total came in at $389,272 for everything as far as the building project goes. And so it came in under the $411,000 that you all had approved. Since there was some cushion between what you approved for Owens, the $350,000, they came in at $324,000. We realized we needed a sign, and we had them go ahead and construct the sign for the cushion that was between the 324 and the 350. That was added to the project, $5,732. That is included in this total, though, for all categories, $389,272.78. So that's how the project unfolded. And the staff are in the building, and they're very excited about it. And if you haven't had a chance to go over and see it, I would encourage you to do that. Does anyone have any questions about the summary of how the building project unfolded?
Hey, Sean.
Ron, did I get that right?
Hey, Sean, just one quick thing. I apologize, but that technically, and correct, I just caught this a second ago, but Kim can correct me if I'm wrong, but the sign was for sign and cabinets that needed to get added in.
Okay, sign and cabinets, was it?
Oh yes, that one was. There was another sign though. We had that one there's for the sign and the extra cabinets we had put in.
Yes.
Environmental sign, yes.
All right, thank you all for the clarification. Does any of the board members have any questions about how the building project unfolded? Looks like Dr. Price is making it to the meeting. Hey, Dr. Price, we see you now. You made it into the meeting. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. We sent you the wrong link earlier, but you're here now, and we're glad to have you. We've approved the minutes so far. We've approved the audit report, and we're just talking about the building project came in a little bit under the budget that you guys approved. So,
hey, Sean, I think he was trying to say something, but he was on mute.
Dr. Price, you're on mute if you want to talk. If you're on your phone, you'll need to tap the screen and the unmute button will be in the lower left-hand corner.
There you go.
There you go, Dr. Price.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. I apologize for the technical problems this morning. Dr. Wilkie, it looks like, is also joining us now. Kim, for your records.
Lisa walked over and helped him get on. He was struggling too.
Well, that's great. We got it. Dr. Price, I take most of the responsibility for that. I sent Kim the wrong link, so.
Well, then I sent the wrong link.
I sent it to you first. So again, thank you everyone for joining. We had just gone through the numbers for the building project, and it came in a little under the cost of what you all ultimately approved, and was just seeing if anyone had any questions about any of the building stuff. All right. If not, I'm going to go ahead and there's one item before we get into the new budget stuff. I want to cover an amended budget item. It's on page 31 of your packet. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen so you can see it. So as we were going through your building project, the dollar amount got up to the point where we were required to have an audit this year. And so we went ahead and worked that in, and we added $1,400 to the budget that you're in currently, our current year budget, to cover the $1,400 audit, because once you get to a certain dollar amount, by state law, we have to have the audit. So that's an amendment to our current year budget. So if there's no, there's plenty of money in the miscellaneous unknown categories to cover that, but generally we would put an audit as a separate line item. So we want to do that just for clarity. So if someone would be willing to make a motion to amend our current year budget to include the $1,400 audit.
This is
I'll make
Gina.
the
I'll make
motion.
that,
I think that was Gina that made the motion.
yes.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
I think I heard a couple. Who was that you, Judge Dowell?
Yes.
All right, Judge Dowell made the second. Would there be any discussion? All right, can we have a vote then? All in favor, please unmute and say aye or type it into the chat box.
Aye.
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 And if there's any opposition, please say nay or type it into the chat box. Okay, I hear no nays and I see nothing in the chat box, so we will move on down the agenda. The next item is the approval of the budget and the setting of the tax rate. Technically, we have to approve the tax rate before we approve the budget, but I generally I'll go ahead and run through the budget so that the tax rate will be in perspective of the budget. So let me get scrolled to that part in my packet here, and I'll put it up on the screen. All right. So what you're seeing on your screen now is the what we're proposing for next fiscal year beginning in July. This top block of information is the budget that you've already approved for our current year. What's different as opposed to what you approved back in February, we have updated our opening balance and we have updated some of these categories as we've spent money through the year. But as of this moment in time, our best guess of how we will end this current fiscal year is at a $243,757 balance. And it'll probably come in maybe a little better than that if we don't spend all of our miscellaneous unknown, but that's where we're projecting to end this year and of course begin next year. So that 243,000 pulls down into the opening balance of what we're proposing for next year. And you can see it's split between the operating fund and the capital fund. The capital fund's generally a CD, and the operating funds generally are a checking account. So you can see here there's 3 columns. One is your current tax rate, which is 0.043 cents or 4.3 cents per $100 of property value. There's also a couple alternatives there beside it, just to kind of give you some perspective of what would your revenues be if it was set at a different amount. Generally speaking, the boards keep the tax rate at the same level. So what I'm going to do is talk about, present the budget with the assumption that you'll be keeping the tax rate at the 4.3 cents per $100 of property value. So what you can see here under budgeted receipts, we have real property taxes projected to bring in $213,139. Now, how we arrive at these balances, if you scroll through your packet, you'll see there's a calculation sheet, and there's one for each tax rate where we take the, let me jump on over to another sheet. We get this sheet forwarded to us from the Finance and Administration Cabinet, and it shows the projected property values for the upcoming year. This is the same property value estimation sheet that's sent to all the taxing districts, the school board and the county and everyone else that taxes. So you can see the different categories. We pull the numbers off of the property value estimation, and we plug it in these projected tax sheets into the right category: real property, personal property, or motor vehicle. Then we multiply it by the tax rate, and then we multiply it by 95% collection rate, and we come up to the amounts that we move over into the budget. So at the current tax rate of 4.3 cents per $100 of property value, the real property taxes, again, is estimated to bring in about $213,139. The personal property taxes would bring in $42,816 worth of projected revenue. The motor vehicle tax would bring in $36,798. Some delinquent tax collections, $6,934. The telecommunications tax, $1,609. And the interest, $217.38. And on the bottom here, you can see the interest is calculated at 0.15% for our money market or checking account and 0.4% on our CD. So you can see $217 on our checking account, $650 on the CD, for a total of $867 of interest income. When you add all of those categories together, the total receipts is $302,166.45. When you add that to the projected opening balance, the funds available for next year would be $545,923. Now, what we're asking you to spend next year is detailed below. Every county that's in our district contributes 2.8 cents per $100 of property value into the district budget or our operational budget. Most of that covers staff costs. Our agency is about 80% staff costs. Other expenditures under the category of building maintenance and repair, we have snow removal if needed, $1,000. Landscaping ×2, fall and spring, $2,000. Miscellaneous unknown, $10,000. Now we put a pretty good lump of funding request into the miscellaneous unknown category. That would be for things that come up unexpected. That has to do with the building. It gives us some room to deal with whatever might come up if we had a leak or some issue without having to call another Casey County Board meeting to get that approved. So it gives us some room to maneuver. When you add those up, you get $13,000 total for building maintenance and repair. And again, under this category or any of these categories, if we don't use the money or if we don't use it all, it just stays in your accounts and will be at your closing balance at the end of the year. Under the category of furniture and fixtures, we have seasonal decorations, $250, miscellaneous unknown, $2,500 for a total of $2,750. Under the category of equipment, we have miscellaneous computer equipment that would be for monitors, keyboards, printers, fax, just anything computer related, technology related that might come up if we have our technology quit on us or break, $7,500. Maintaining our generator, $500, and miscellaneous unknown, $10,000 for a total of $18,000. And again, for these miscellaneous unknown categories, if we don't spend it, we just leave it. The other items, the audit, $1,400. Printing our financial statements in our newspaper and posting them on the state website where they're required to be posted, $300. Paying the board's professional memberships to Cowboy and KPHA, $1,500. And in case we get to have an in-person meeting next year, $500 for board meeting expenses. Totals up $238,115 for all of those expenses. When you take that away from our funds available, it leaves let's see. It leaves a total of $64,051.45. The total, the total expenditures is $238,115. When I add the checking and the CD, it's $307,808 balance remaining, and it's $64,000 more than where you started for the year. Now we have added an optional item down here at the bottom that we would ask for your approval. That's $32,000 for paving and resurfacing the parking lot. Should you approve that, it'll leave your balance at $270,115, which is or that'll be the total spent that we're asking to spend, $270,115, which will leave your balance $275,808.83, which ends up being $32,000 better off than you started. So you have enough funds to cover that. I know in times past too, we've talked about maybe adding like a meeting room on our property back there, but we'll probably wait and talk about that next year after we get, everything settled as far as our paving and our building and so forth. And, really we've been tied up so much with COVID-19. We haven't really had a chance to think about anything else anyway. So before we approve the tax rate, do you have any questions about anything that we've presented in the budget?
Sean, is that total it's where it says total budget expenditures, including optional building loan and automatic generator, $270,000? Is that including approving that?
There's two right here is the balance that we're asking for. That includes everything except the paving. And let's see here, total budget expenditure, including I think the automatic generator was just something that was left on there from last year that shouldn't be on there. Is that right? Ron, you see right here where I'm highlighting?
Yeah. Sorry, Judge. That was just a typo. Normally, we just say total optional expenses. The reason we did that specific last year was just because it was such a big number. So it's just a typo. I'll change that after you guys approve.
So you can take that part off because we already approved that last year and got that taken care of. It's really
so there's not an additional request for a building loan there?
No.
Yes, that's right. The only thing here is the paving. And thanks for catching that. That's just something we overlooked when we were carrying over our template from last year.
So what does that change your numbers by?
it won't change the numbers.
There's nothing wrong with the numbers. It was just a typo. It should say total budget expenditures including asphalt paving and resurfacing, and that's it.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at is correct. It's just a typo. The optional expenses for asphalt paving and resurfacing is what you're approving. Nothing else.
Yeah. So if you, other than the optional paving, everything we presented before that is included with this amount, which is, total expenditure request of $238,115. And if we add the paving, it would be a total request of $270,115. So if you just add 32,000 onto that, you get the 270,000. And if you approve it with the optional paving, it would leave you with $275,808, which is $32,000 better than you started. Any other questions? We apologize for the typo.
I was under the impression last year that we were planning to lower the tax rate this year. And we decided to keep it that way 1 year because we were in the process of all the extra expenditures of the new health department building. Is that not the case?
That's up to you guys.
That's what the discussion was.
That's up to you guys how you want to handle that. You can.
Hey, Sean, you'll probably want to discuss the new compensating deal potentially before they make that call.
Yeah, there's a new state law that passed that says that it appears that the health departments are now going to be under the compensating tax rate. However, the Cabinet for Health and Families has taken the stand that that law doesn't apply to us, but the Department of Local Government has taken the stand that it does. So I don't know how that's going to sort out, but what I was going to propose was that we either leave our tax rate at 0.043 cents or 43 cents per $100,000 or take the compensating tax rate. But so I don't know. Judge Dial will know more about the compensating tax rate than I do. If you're wanting to lower the tax rate, Judge, I'm not sure how you go about that. Should we end up under the compensating tax rate? I guess it's not an issue lowering.
It's not an issue lowering it. The only issue on that is if you, and I think that's different with the health department than it is with any other taxing district. Any other taxing district, if they propose an increase, any increase that is more than 4%, you have to advertise, and there's some issues there. But the lowering the tax rate, there shouldn't be compensating rate. Sometimes compensating rate, your rate will be a little higher. Sometimes your rate will be a little lower. It depends on what the assessments are for this year. If the assessments have increased and there's new property, then your compensating rate would keep your income the same as last year, but it may take going up on your rate to get that compensating rate. Sometimes it takes going down on it. You don't know that until you get all the figures in. And if they've not included that in the numbers that have been presented to you, we don't even know that number yet.
No, we won't know
what that
that.
compensating rate is.
Yeah, so that's, that puts a kink in the plans of how we do our budgeting process. And so once they sort all that out, next year we may have to do our budgeting process differently. But here's where, in case you want to know, Casey County, this is how you've ended each year over the last few years, your balance. Of course, this year you ended 20 because you bought the building, and of course this year you did renovations, so it's going to be when we close 2021, you won't have the same closing balance. We're projecting the closing balance to be much different after we take out the building project. The one thing I would say is you all own the lot, that extra lot, and if you leave the tax rate where it is, we're projecting that you will close with $275,000. We had talked about since the building doesn't have a good community meeting room, And since there's not a lot of options in Casey County that has a good meeting room, we talked about maybe adding a annex on that back lot or on the side lot, either one, somewhere on the lot, to have a nice sized meeting room with a kitchen and maybe a couple offices or something. But so it just depends on what you all want to do. So you all can talk about it and you can ask us questions and you can handle it however you see fit. We've got here the option of where it would be at break even. Right here, it's 3.4 cents per $100 of property value. So that's the other option.
I've got
Well,
a
the
question.
property valuation went up quite a bit this year in Casey County. Everybody's.
Yeah, I think there's going to be that projected value, I think is a conservative estimate.
If I understand the
I know our
compensating
discussion last year was, our discussion last year, those that were reluctant to lower the tax rate last year, I think it was because of the unknowns involved in with the remodel at the new health department building. And I think it was a consensus with everybody that if everything went through as planned, that I think everybody agreed last year that we'd look at that this year and give serious consideration to lowering that tax rate to a break-even number, since the increase in the tax rate several years ago was added on for the sole purpose of having a new health department building. And we've got that health department building now.
Yeah, that's correct. That's why you raise the tax rate. That's accurate.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
All right. When we went to do this buying and remodeling, we had X dollars in savings. What have we spent out of that total so far?
Are you meaning on the building project?
Yes. The
All
total
right.
expenditures from the generator to everything. We've had a few other items that had to come in and be added to it. And what is the total expense on this project?
Let me see where that's at in my packet here, and I'll pull that up. All right, and this is in your packet. We showed this earlier, that the total that we've spent so far for the project was $389,272.78. That included this was this year for last year we purchased the building. As far as in this budget year, that's what we spent for the remodel. We remodeled it. We changed the security system. We added the roof. We took care of the HVAC units. We got a new
And then we had
sign.
the purchase of 300,000, correct?
I don't remember exactly what the purchase was for the building.
All right.
last year.
How much did we have in our building fund when we started this?
He's leading him too.
I don't know. Ron, do you have that? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, Sean, I'll try and pull that. I'll have to look at prior year numbers because remember we actually purchased the building before we started all this to get it down too. So you're going to hang on a second.
Generally, the money that's in the capital fund or the CDs is generally the money that would talk about as being your building fund project.
So if I'm just on a rough estimate,
Well, Ron, I can.
Purchase and all the remodel and everything, we spent roughly 700,000.
Here you go.
And we had how much in that? I was thinking a 900,000 in that, 900 some thousand in the building fund, I call it.
This shows you what your ending balance was each year. So we can look back at this. In 2012, your total ending balance was 338,000. And you can see each year you got up to 2019. You had a total balance of $928,000. Last year, including the purchase of the building and other things we spent, we were down to 625,000. And where we project to end this year is 275,000 if you leave the tax rate the same. If you go to break even, it'd be 214,000. Is that what you were asking, sir?
Well, I'm trying to break it different, get what was in our building fund so we don't delve into it. How much reserve is excess from the tax and operating capital and operating expenses, and separating it from this building fund, because you throw them together, you can't get a true statement of where you stand from what to project, what you'll be doing next year with what you're taking in.
Donnie, I think what they're saying is a break even, a true break even number this year's is the 3.4 cents per $100.
Okay.
That's
That's a break even. That's a break even, for revenue versus expense.
And we've had a 4.3, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
So if we pick something between those to drop down, we'd still have excess.
That's correct.
Here, she's still texting. She's on.
And, I appreciate your all's interest in lowering the tax rate. None of our counties in our 10 county district try to hoard up money. And, that's what we should do. It's taxpayers' money, and we don't need more than we need. But like I said, the only thing I know of that has been discussed is putting an annex in for a meeting room. So that's, in my mind, that's the only thing you need to take into account. The building that you have now, with the work that we've done on it, it's a like new building. Of course, I can't say nothing will go wrong with it, but it's a really fine building. It's got a new roof on it. We've got new heating and air units. We're going to pave the parking lot this year. So, if assuming you approve that, so we will have taken care of a lot of things. So the only variable I can think of is keeping in mind if you want to do that meeting room annex. And you may not, that's up to you guys, but you know the conditions in Casey County better than me. I think Casey's just so you know, I think Casey's the only health center we have that, we don't have a pretty good sized community room in it where we do our own programs and things. We've got a little room, but it's down in the basement, and I'm not sure it won't meet ADA requirements because there's no elevator.
Sean, what types of programs are you talking about that you all do in those meeting rooms?
Mostly it's what Jelaine does, and she's on the meeting when she does, Jelaine and diabetes, but Jelaine, do you want to talk about it? I mean, there would be smoking classes, diabetes would do diabetes education. Jelaine, do you have other things?
Yes, we have our health coalition meetings that we do monthly, and we always have to have those someplace else. We have diabetes classes, we have smoking cessation classes. Every now and then we'll have like an exercise class that stuff that we can do. We always have to look somewhere else for somewhere to have those, because there's never been a space there in Casey.
Yeah.
Where do you currently have those meetings?
The health coalition meetings right now, of course, we've not had them for a while, but we've been having them at City Hall. Sometimes if it's not available, we'll have it at the extension office. That stays booked up quite a bit though. And we have had it at the school annex, the board annex. That's a little out of town, but we have them out there every now and then.
Yeah. And
Is that something that you all do mostly during the day?
Most of the time.
Are those classes that they take during the day?
Most of the time. Sometimes we have afternoon classes.
Okay. If it's something that's during the week, if there's something there that you all need a place to meet, I can help you with that. We've got a couple of places that the county owns that would be available most any time during the week.
Okay. Thank you.
We've got the community center at Gateway Park, and then we've also got the pork producers building at the Ag Center. So those are generally available during the week.
We've used the one at the park for a few times, but they started wanting to charge for that, and we don't have money to pay for to pay rent on place.
Okay.
We don't charge fees for our program, so we can't really, we don't really have any extra funds to pay. So
How
we
much were they charging for a meeting?
I don't remember. It's been quite a while since we've had
Well-
anything out there.
But even if we had to pay rental on a room, place, a fee, would it be justifiable to do that? And we budget that in our budget rather than building another building to keep up.
Oh, that's,
I think that's something we can work out something there, Jelaine, if you'll get with me sometime. I think that's something I can work out with you.
okay. Thank you.
One thing I was going to contribute too is you all have that extra lot there that has some value that at some point you may want to sell, or you may want to keep it for whatever purposes, but don't forget, since we don't do accrual accounting, that doesn't show up in the budget as an asset, but you do have that extra lot.
Is that about an acre, if I'm correct there, Sean?
Lord, I don't
Is there
remember.
about an acre of land there?
I think it's 1.44.
Yeah, we probably would want to keep a little section of it on our side. So probably about an acre of it's probably what we would want to let go of. Probably right there where the tree line is, I would assume.
I think that's a good idea for land that's that valuable. I don't think it would be in our best interest to keep something that would have value to it like that. If I can't foresee in the near future any need that we would have there as a health department, I think we could use those funds. It'd be better to have that in reserve, to have that land sitting there.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. So like I said, guys, this is all up to you. I just present things, and you all know your county better than I do, so. I'll share the screen again so you can see the packet. And these budget options that we've shown you. We always just show the present one. We show what we call our best guess of a break even. And then we show another one if you wanted that budget at a surplus. So it just gives you some different ideals. You could pick any amount in between there, and Ron can change it on his computer and tell you the differences in revenue and bottom line. He can do that on the fly. So if you want to, if anyone wants to propose, whatever, we can give you the corrections on the numbers, or you can use what you see here.
Okay, I'll speak up. Personally, I'm for lowering the tax rate.
I'll agree. I think if we have reached our goal, that was the reason behind us raising the tax rate years ago, and we've reached that goal. I think that we owe it to the people here to try to save them some money any way that we can. And I think each of the taxing districts should look at that.
I would agree with Judge Dial and Dr. Price, because if that's the reason why we increased the budget and we've met those goals, then yes, especially with the overall, the increase in property tax evaluation that we've had recently. So, I mean, we're probably going to recoup funds with that anyway. So I'd have to agree to lower the budget.
Yeah. Judge, as far as the compensating tax rate goes, if we take the compensating tax rate, it would leave the revenue exactly where it is, correct?
The revenue would be the same, excluding new construction. So it's going to be with the compensating rate, you're going to be left with the same revenue that you had last year. It's going to be somewhere near that 0.043. It's not going to be off very much, because 4% increase is only going up 0.2 of a cent. So your compensating rate, if values have gone up, it may go down a 0.1 of a cent. It's not going to be off much. Sometimes the compensating rate will go up. It depends. A couple of years ago, our compensating rate was higher than what our rate was the year before, because property values, the overall property value went down because they reassessed the pumping station. And that was such a large, that and all the utilities were reassessed and they lowered those considerably. So our compensating rate actually was higher than what the rate that was in effect at the time. But I think with what I've seen of the assessments and where they're headed this year, I think if that 0.034, if that's a break even at what's projected, I think it's going to come in a little bit more than that. So I think the 0.034 is a safe. I think that we're safe at that 0.034. I don't think that's anything that we have to worry about decreasing our or it being less than what's projected here.
I do want to point out that the break evens, once again, are an estimate. They are based on, number one, you spending all your dollars, but they're also based on a 95% collection rate on everything. So depending on if that goes up or down, that also changes the game. So it's just some things to think about. You obviously can do what you want, but this is obviously an estimate.
All right, somebody put into the chat, Dr. Cundiff said, I would make a motion that we lower the tax rate to 0.04 cents or 4 cents per $100 of property value.
I'll second that.
Dr. Price seconded that, so time for discussion.
My only comment on that is with the 0.04, that's a fairly small decrease. I would still think I would be almost inclined if we're only going to decrease it that much that we leave it the same.
Well, I was wondering about like 0.37, 3.7.
Well, we've had a motion in a second, so you'd have to vote no on the motion in second if you want to re-propose another rate.
So you guys know, it's if you do 0.037, based on my current estimates, it would come in around 23,000 surplus. If you do 0.04, it would come in around a $43,000 surplus.
All right. Does anybody have any questions about that? We can go ahead and vote on the motion that's been seconded, 0.04, and if you turn it down, we can vote on the other option. Can you tell us that again, Ron, just so everyone knows at 0.40, what would?
Yes, right. At the current motion of 0.04, which has been made, it would leave you, once again, in the perfect world here of this budget, a $43,000 roughly surplus. If you did the 0.037, it would leave you at roughly a $23,000 surplus.
Okay. All right. Gina, if it's all right.
I've got one question, Sean.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
If a 4 cent tax is going to give us $43,000 in surplus, how do we show here a $32,000 surplus with 4.3? How would we lower the rate and come up with more than what we're showing here at 4.3?
I think he's giving you.
No. Yeah, the Judge, when you look at the way we do that break even is not with optional expenses. So you need to look at the line where it just says before optional expenses.
Yeah, this amount
Okay.
right here.
All right, I see that now.
Yeah. So you can see here, we set the break even outside the optional expenses.
So that'd be at 64,000. I see that now.
Yes,
My
sir.
apologies.
And the reason we do that, because obviously we don't do optional expenses every year.
Yeah.
Right.
Good questions. Does anybody else have any questions? All right, Gina, can we, is it all right if we take a vote on the proposed 4 cents per $100 property value?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor of the 4 cent proposal, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
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 All right. I counted 3 yeses and the rest nays. We probably need to do a roll call vote just to make sure. Kim, can you do that?
Yes. I'll start with Jennifer Sugars.
Yes.
What did she vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Vote yes for the 4.0.
Yes. Okay. Randy Dial,
No.
Gina Good,
No.
Jennifer Overstreet,
Yes.
Darren Cundiff is
He voted yes in the chat. I vote yes on the 4.0 tax rate.
Dr. Brown,
Dr. Brown's saying no, I think. You're muted, Dr. Brown. You might want to unmute so we can be sure. You'll have to touch your screen and hit that unmute option. Technology's fun, guys, when during COVID. There you go, Dr. Brown.
No.
All right. It's 3-3.
Kay King,
No.
Dr. Price.
Yes.
Did I miss anyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Did Mr. Wilkie vote?
Dr. Wilkie,
No.
okay.
All right. So that's 4 yeses and 5 nos, if I added correctly.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that motion was rejected. So we would need another tax rate proposal.
I'm gonna, 3.7% is what I'm gonna,
Okay, Mr. Wilkie made a motion, 3.7 cents. Is there a second for that?
This is Gina. I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Kim, can you do a roll call vote, please?
So Jennifer Sugars,
Prefer to keep it at 6.4, so it'll be a no.
no. Randy Dial,
Yes.
Gina Good, she made the motion, right?
Yes.
Jennifer Overstreet,
Yes.
Darren Cundiff,
Darren, can you put it in the chat? He votes yes.
Dr. Brown,
Yes.
Kay King,
Yes.
Dr. Price,
Yes.
and Dr. Wilkie.
yes. Mhm.
All right, I have 1 no and the rest yes. Is that what you got, Kim?
That's what I got.
All right, that passed. All right, thank you all. Good discussion. I know the citizens there in Casey County will be pleased that their tax rate has gone down a little bit.
Hey, Sean,
Yeah.
I do want to remind you that they'll still have to make the comment about the compensating rate with the new rate.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, Randy, Judge Dahl, I've never lowered a tax rate under the compensating tax rate. I don't even know how you make a motion to do that. I've been here 20 years, but we've
Well-
all been under one system.
Well, we have the option of using, you can either take the compensating rate, you can vote to increase your tax rate, or you can vote to decrease your tax rate. Compensating rate is just an option.
Okay, so what we did.
If you
in your
vote to
mind-
lower the rate, what we did there is correct. That the compensating rate is only an option. That's another option if we chose to lower the rate, not take the compensating rate.
Okay, all right. All right, I trust your judgment on that because you've dealt with compensating tax rate and I haven't, so thank you. All right, so with that in mind, we've presented the budget. Is there any questions about any item in the budget? if there's no questions, if someone wants to make a motion to accept the budget, your motion needs to include whether or not you want to also include the optional asphalt paving and resurfacing.
I'll make the motion that we approve the budget as presented with the 3.7 tax rate and include the asphalt paving and resurfacing.
All right, that was a motion by Judge Dowell. Does anyone make a second?
I'll second it.
All right, who was that?
Jennifer Overstreet.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, please say nay or type nay in the chat. Looks like that was unanimous. Is there any item of new or old business that we need to discuss? We still need to do the officers and the district members and get the health education report. But is there anything other than those things we need to discuss? I can give a COVID update in just a moment. All right. Let's move on then to the board members. The officers right now, what we have in our records, we have Gina Good as the chair. We have Darren Cundiff as the vice chair, and I serve as your secretary. I'm a non-voting member of the board.
Sean, you need a motion for nomination of officers.
Yes, sir. If you're happy with the present slate and they're willing to serve, you can make that motion, or you could make a motion to appoint others, however you want to handle it.
I'd make that motion. They remain the same if they're willing to serve another year.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? You guys who are serving, this would be a good time to discuss it if you're not wanting to do that. Hearing no discussion, can we get a vote? All those in favor say aye or type in the chat aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? That sounds like that's unanimous. This year, the members that I have listed whose terms are going to expire at the end of 21 is Gina Good, Dr. Haddad, Linda Lee, Dr. Price, Dr. Aldi Brown, and Darren Cundiff, Dr. Cundiff. The state's doing it a little different this year. You won't be filling out a paper form. We enter those into the state website now. So guys, my intention is to enter you all as being nominated again, unless you tell me you don't want to be nominated again. I may not enter it, I may have Kim enter it, but somebody will get that entered in as though you're nominated unless you tell me no.
And I already sent them a paper to fill out.
Well, that's okay. If they fill out the paper one, you can just type it in off the paper.
Okay.
I just found out about that a few days ago myself.
Okay.
All right, I'm not hearing anyone saying they aren't willing to serve. If you just don't want to say it, if you can text us or email us later. Members who serve on the district board, Judge Dowell is automatically on the district board, and you get 2 additional members. And right now it's Gina Good and Kay King are serving as your additional members on our district or governing board. Of course, the district board approves the district budget, my performance evaluation, and our policies and procedures as an agency and so forth. And those are your representatives. So the 2 appointed members that you guys have appointed is Gina Good and Kay King.
I'll make that motion that they remain as well if they're willing to serve another year.
That was Judge Dowell.
Jennifer Sugars will second that.
Is there a second?
Jennifer Sugars seconded.
Jennifer, sure. So discussion. So if Gina or Kay wants to step down, this would be the time to discuss it. I hear no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay or type nay in the chat. That sounds like unanimous then. As far as our COVID situation, I'll just briefly mention that it's been a real challenge for the health department. You know, we do contact tracing, case investigation, isolation, quarantine. We do enforcement. We do public health messaging. Those are all things that we've done for years. It's just doing it at this level for this length of time with this level of public scrutiny and intensity has been something we're not accustomed to. Most of what we've done in the past, as far as, you know, that we have overwhelming public support, immunizations, making sure people's not straight lining their human waste into the creek, making sure there's not infestations in hotels and restaurants. You all know with the COVID-19, it's been about half of our population have thought we're doing too much and half not enough. So it's been a balancing act. That wasn't anything compared to the criticism we've taken with the vaccine rollout. You know, we have successfully scheduled all of the vaccine that's been pushed to the health department within a day or two of getting the vaccine, and we get those vaccines administered in the week we receive them. Keep in mind that we had our first case in March. A vaccine has already been developed. We've already, when I say we, not just the health department, through all the vaccine programs, the nursing homes, staff and residents have had their first and some their second dose. They're moving into personal care homes, healthcare providers, first responders, teachers, and now we're probably about halfway through the 70 and older market. And yesterday, the governor reported that when we stop having as much demand for the 70 and older, when we get into the 1C, he wants to focus on the 60 and older, which will, from a public health response, when we get to the 60 and older, we've dealt with most of our death and most of our hospitalizations. So, I mean, that's really the way you want to handle it. So, I mean, it's really went well, but, you know, people who want the vaccine and can't get it, it doesn't feel like it's going well to them. So anyway, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you all have about it. We try to do, send you guys, you know that each night we post an update on our website that talks about what our present conditions are as far as the disease. Also, it lists everything we know about the vaccine each day. So. If no one has any questions for me about that, Jelane's the last item on the agenda to do a health education report. And,
I do have a question about the COVID.
All right.
Okay, because I have, I don't understand really why clergy and ministers were not included in a group of ancillary healthcare workers for ancillary services like a physical therapist or a occupational therapist or respiratory therapist, because if patients are having an end of life plan of treatment and they're in a hospital, clergy are allowed to enter the hospital to give them end of life care. So there's been a group here in Casey County that have kind of fallen through those cracks because either they are not actually on staff with a hospital, but they still go in to minister to end of life care patients. So when are those folks going to have to wait until the 1C is dropped, or?
Well, they can get it now if they're 70 or older, and in a few days it'll be 60 and older. You know, of course, I don't make the decisions who's included in those categories. What I can do for you is I can email your recommendation to the State Health Operations Center, and they can get forwarded up to the commissioner's office. You have a valid concern. I take probably 20 calls a day from different groups and different people who have equally valid concerns. So I'm just saying that to put it in perspective that every group feels like they need to be ahead of another group. And from a public health perspective, getting it to the 70 and older is going to get us our biggest public health return. Getting it to the 60 and older after that will be the next biggest public health return. And that's going to take care of most of our death and most of our hospitalizations. So, after that, just kind of opening it up to whoever can get it when it's available, would be fine with me from a public health perspective. But I'm probably not telling you what you want to hear. I'm just telling you what the statistics tell me is our biggest issue as far as mortality and hospitalization. But I wrote this down. I'll send your recommendation up to the State Health Operations Center. Thank you for the question.
Sean, I have a question.
Yes.
When do you expect that the vaccine will be offered to anyone and everyone that wants it? I mean, do you think by June, end of this year? Is there a projection?
I would think it's probably going to take us 3 to 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks to get through all of the 70 and older. Maybe we'll get through quicker than that. If we go to 60 and older next, it'll probably be 6 to 8 weeks to get through that group. And then, the 1C, it's not everyone, but it's a lot of people. It's probably half of the citizens. If you look on our website and see who all fits in that 1C group, other than the 60-year-olds, there's a tremendous number of health conditions and essential workers. I mean, if you can't figure out how you fit into one of those categories, so I'm thinking most people's going to fit into that. So once you get
I don't fit in that category. I don't fit until the second phase, and I'm just curious when you expect. Is it going to take to the end of this year?
I would think so,
to get
yes.
everyone a vaccination that wants it.
I would think so.
Okay.
I would think it would take us well past the summer to get on past the 1C group. And this is because of vaccine supply. If the vaccine supply changes, there's plenty of providers in our area, pharmacists and doctors and FQHCs and hospitals and us. I mean, there's plenty of people that's willing to be a provider. That's not the issue. The issue is vaccine supply. So that could speed up if more drug companies get their product approved. If the drug companies that have their product approved already, if their production improves or ramps up, that can change. But based on what I know today, it's going to take us to close to the end of the year to get on down to those lower groups. Any other questions? All right, thank you all. If it's all right, I'm going to go ahead and let Jelaine give her report. Jelaine, I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And if I'm not on what you're wanting to see, tell me.
I'm low battery.
I'm getting close to it. There we go.
That one right there, the next one, go to the next one. The next page. That one, yeah. I just want to quickly draw your attention to a couple of things. And first, I want to say thank you guys for always supporting the health education programs. As you can see on this, our population in Casey is consistently going down. Our 65 age group is consistently going up. So that's one of the things we get, we know that's a population that really wants the vaccine, like Mr. Crabtree was talking about. And that's a lot of people there in Casey. A good thing to look at is the second one, our income. The median household income's going up, unemployment's going down, which is good. A lot of our health problems that we've worked on for years, smoking, obesity, physical inactivity, those are all going down slowly. So that's a good thing. Overdoses have gone down. We've got a great ASAP program in Casey that you guys have probably heard about. Some of you sit on those boards. That's going, they work a lot on drug overdose, so that's going down. Children in poverty is going down, children in single parent homes. So there's a lot of good things going on in Casey County that you guys know about. We just keep working on that. Teen birth is going down. We work a lot with that in the county. So I won't go over all these things. You guys have got it in your packet, and you always know how to get a hold of me if you need this information for grants or for just your own knowledge. So just always reach out to me, let me know. And again, we appreciate you. Judge, I probably will be contacting you about that building once we get back to having in face-to-face meetings, because we are always looking for a good place to meet. So I appreciate that offer very much. If anybody has
And
any
we'll do what
questions,
we can to,
let
we'll
me
do
know.
what we can to accommodate you.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. I'll be calling.
The only other thing in the packet that we didn't go over was the detailed breakdown of the building project, the change orders and so forth. You all can look at that. We gave it to you in summary. I think that's everything on the agenda, unless someone has a question. Gina, would you want to take a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
That was Dr. Brown.
Dr. Brown. This is Gina. I'll make the second on that.
Gina made the second. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Any opposition? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good meeting. Appreciate you all.
Thank you all.